My name is Rick, one half of your DigiQuest team, and today we're going to be looking at a Force of Will deck that I've been really enjoying messing around with. As you all know, rotation is fast approaching, and so I've been tooling around trying to see what I can make happen with mostly Lapis Cluster cards. And I think a good ruler to do that with is this one right here, Kaguya Tears of the Moon. I think once some of the stronger black cards like Black Moonbeam and stuff rotate out, this deck's going to be pretty oppressive. As you can see here, let's get it to focus. You can Judgment her for 0 as long as you've played a treasury this turn. She energizes for blue and green. And then this last ability is, I think, very underrated. It's really strong. You can reveal the top card of your deck every turn. If it's a treasury, put it in your hand. And as we'll see later with the stone deck, her specific stone synergizes really well with this ability. So let's flip her over. Now this right here is, in my opinion, one of the strongest post-rotation rulers in the game. I think she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. So a lot of abilities for her. As long as you control 3 or more treasury items, this card gets barrier. You can rest 1 treasury item to give a resonator -2. You can rest 2 to produce mana, rest 3 to draw a card, and then rest 4 to return a res to the hand, rest 5, and this is now a 15/15 with flying and barrier. So a lot of good abilities. Kind of disappointing she has no attack power of her own without 5 treasuries, but still her utility abilities are still, very strong. And as you'll see, we run a lot of treasuries in this deck, so it's not going to be hard to get 5 out. So let's just set that over there. Let's move on to the Resonator lineup. First up, 2 Glistening Chick. This card is pretty basic, 5/5 with flying. Whenever you swing with it, you can rest a target resonator to prevent blockers, things like that. Another treasury item, as well as being a resonator, so you can add it to your hand off of Kagi's ability. This is a great equip target for some of your treasuries, like the water kimono, stuff like that. Just all around good resonator. Not too much to say about it. Next up, we got 3 Melfi. This card is great for the ramp up potential. She's a quick cast. You can cast her on your opponent's turn, and then she's ready to go for next turn for tapping for mana. She can produce any of the 5 colors, which is great since this is, as you'll see, a 4-color deck. So having Melfi in here really adds to the consistency. She's also a great sponge for removal. Obviously, your opponent doesn't want you to be able to ramp, so she becomes a big target for a lot of removal that maybe could be used on more important creatures. So yeah, good card. Next up is a new card, actually, from the latest set that I've been testing out and really enjoying. It's a Flute's Water Dragon. It is a 1/4 for 1, and you can rest this resonator to call a stone instead of your J-Ruler. So generally in this deck, you want to be flipping Kaguya over by turn 3. So you want her out and using her utility abilities, not necessarily calling stones all the time. So this is a good alternative. Additionally, in the late game, Seal 5, it becomes a 5/8 with flying. Like, that's pretty good. And since this is a control-y build, games are going to go till turn 5 pretty regularly. And then the last 2 resonators, or almost the last 2. One of the main win conditions for the deck in the resonator lineup here is Kaguya Lunar Researcher. This is a 7/8 for 3, but if you control a moon, it only costs 2. And we run 3 moons in this deck that are searchable, so we'll get the moon out pretty consistently. And we definitely want to get the moon out consistently in order to protect our additions and treasuries and whatnot. But yeah, when when you bestow something to this card, it untaps. So you can attack with her, bestow a kimono, untap, attack for even more damage, bestow a kimono, untap, attack for yet more damage, since the kimonos stack exponentially. So yeah, she's an absolute powerhouse. She can deal a massive amount of damage in a single turn, especially since kimono only costs 1. Now the real last resonator is Night Moon Blossom. This card, it's a pretty standard, 3/7 for 2. It's a good defender. It also comes with barrier baked right in. So it's also not a bad target for kimonos and stuff if you don't have a Lunar Researcher, because this card's very hard to get rid of. Barrier really helps with that, and the high defense, makes it difficult for it to be destroyed even in combat. So, if you don't have Lunar Researcher or Lunar Researcher gets destroyed, plop down a Night Moon Blossom, get those kimonos onto the Blossom instead. It'll get the job done slower, but, we'll still get the job done just fine. So let's move on to our spells. First up, this is the only card in the deck that will rotate, but it's for space time. If you play black, you have to run space time. I'm going to use it while it's legal, and then once it rotates out, transition into another counter spell. The card's just too good. Draw a card, remnant, the whole bit, You can use it in a lot of interesting ways. If you're fishing for a particular card to help you win the game, you can just space-time something random on the board just to draw a card if you have the mana to burn. It's got a lot of utility. You kind of have to run it as long as it's in the format. But after obviously it rotates, it'll be replaced with something else. And it certainly isn't required for the deck to function, so I don't think we really lose much when it rotates. Here's another staple, Charlotte's Water transformation magic. Turn him into a 4/4 bear for the turn. It's got remnant. I was running this in the deck back before I was splashing black. I think the card is still good in those situations, but it really needs that black splash for this card here. Unseen Pressure. The combo here obviously is Water Dragon something, or Water Transformation something I should say, and then Unseen Pressure it. So for 2 mana you've got some guaranteed removal pretty much, because, once it turns into a bear it's got no abilities, no protection. So, good combo. Also good for stalling, combat tricks, the whole bit. Then we've got our counters package. We're doing 2 Millennia Bond and 3 Seal of Wind and Light. Seal, you know what, actually Seal rotates too, but whatever. That doesn't really matter because we'll just switch to 4 Millennia Bond. Honestly, I think my ratios might be a little incorrect here anyways. Millennia Bond in this deck is really good because most times you're going to get, well, first off, it's easier to have blue and green mana than white and green mana. Additionally, a lot of times, if we'll zoom in on this one, so this one, we're going to get that double ability more often than not. We can cancel a chant, draw a card, and then we can also put a treasury with total 3 cost or less from your hand onto the field. There's a particular treasury that I like to do this with that I'll show you. And when you combo it off like that, the advantage you net is absolutely bonkers. But yeah, obviously, Seal counters anything, which is nice, but I think Millennia Bond is still a really good replacement for that when it rotates. So next up, forgot a seal there. Next up, we've got the Universal Searcher for the deck, Moonbeam Butterfly. I was doing 4, now I'm only doing 3. I think I'm going to put the 4th back in. It's just too good. It searches literally whatever you need. You can get your additions, your treasuries, your creatures, whatever you're looking for, just from the deck, which is pretty nutty. Now, up next is the treasury item you want to be using with Millennia Bond as much as possible, and that's the Pictorial Scroll. When this enters the field, you can remove the top 3 cards of your deck from the game, look at them whenever you want, and you can cast them as if they were in your hand. That's pretty crazy. So you do this Millennia Bond combo, you counter their chant, you draw a card, you put this into play, it's a treasury, it synergizes with Kaguya, and you essentially draw 3 more cards. So this combo draws you 4 cards and gives you a permanent treasury on the board. Like, so good. I'm thinking about doing 3 of these. Problem is, you don't necessarily want to draw them without Millennia Bond. They're good targets for Kaguya Moonbeam Butterfly as well, but we'll see. 3 might be correct. Next up, we have First Moon. Protects your additions, which is super important because Heavenly Gust is in the format and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. If this deck becomes more of a thing after rotation, we're going to see a lot of people side decking or even main decking Heavenly Gust. We're already seeing them do it because of Regalia. Once those are gone, if this deck becomes a thing, still going to see a lot of it. Still got to have answers for it. Torrent is not a difficult ability to get off. So First Moon is absolutely crucial to keeping your stuff alive, and it makes Lunar Researcher cheaper. So all around, good stuff. Then the last card, or second to last card in the deck, we have our Water Kimonos. I'm running 6 of them. Obviously, I'm not playing the deck to win with the Water Kimono alternate win condition. I think that's too gimmicky and too inconsistent. But that doesn't mean Water Kimono is not an excellent card, because it is. They stack exponentially, so if you have 2 on them, they give a total of +4/+4, which is, and that stacks, exponentially as it gets higher. So you can make creatures very, very big, very, very fast. And it ends games. If a creature is destroyed, the kimono doesn't go anywhere, so you can bestow it on something else. If they tap your creature for whatever abilities they may have, just switch kimono into something else and attack with that instead and still do big damage. So kimono is an excellent card. Definitely one that I would keep around. I don't know if I would run more than 6, but I think 6 is a pretty good number. It's very searchable as well off Moonbeam Butterfly, stuff like that, because it's only a 1 cost. So last card in the deck, Heavenly Gust. I like this card right now because you kind of need one for Regalia. You got to hit those Regalia, you got to get rid of them. And it specifies, for the Torrent ability, I don't get it off very often, but if I do, it does specify opponent's controls, so it doesn't hurt me in any way to run it. And it's just good to have that spot removal. So yeah, let's move on to the stones. So first up, we've got the light vapors. 1, 2, 3. We're doing 3 light vapors. Oh, that's not in center at all. There we go. Blue and white. The white mana is important for seal, stuff like that. We're also doing 1 Gusting Skies for that extra white. And then we're doing 4 Black Silence. This is our only source of black besides Melfi, so I wanted to have 4 of them. And then here's the big stone for me, and that's Kaguya's Stone of Sorrow. Now, as you can see, it produces blue and a green, but it also, if you look, when it enters the field, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put them back in any order. So you can scry 2, essentially, and then if your top card is not a treasury, but your second from the top is, just switch places with them. And you run so many treasuries, that's going to happen a lot. And if they're both treasuries, pick which one you want more. So this is really good stuff. That's it for the stones. I guess we'll show side deck real quick. I'm not too sure about this side deck. I'm very confident in the main deck right now. Side deck is still very much a work in progress. As obviously with rotation so close as well, the side deck could completely change. Who knows? So we've got first up, Shackle of Ice prevents rulers from dunking on us. 0 is one that this hurts because honestly, once the ruler flips, we have a tough time catching up. We don't have a lot of removal for J rulers. Black Moonbeam rotates out, so it's difficult for us to get over them. So this in a way just kind of says, hey, you're not going to get to. And also it's an addition, so the first moon protects it. So pretty good. 2 Prison in Lunar Lake. This rotates out, obviously, but for right now, it's pretty good. ETB stops from happening. These probably will be Abdul's, honestly. With the new promo that's come out, Abdul's gotten a lot cheaper. He's not expensive as he used to be, so these will probably just be Abdul's. Then we got another Pictorial Scroll. Pretty self-explanatory. Another Heavenly Gust for those heavy Regalia decks. We got double Scorn for hand disruption, along with double Nameless Mist. 2 Schrodinger's Observation. Really good finisher here. This card is excellent at finishing up the game or saving you if you need to gain some life back. So if you're playing against like a burn or a rush down, this can really help. This can save your life. Then we've got this for Fox decks that use their graveyard a lot. You can shuffle stuff back into their deck. Make sure they can't pull them out when they want. Pretty basic stuff. So that's the side deck. And that's pretty much the works. I think this deck right now struggles against hard control. Stuff like Val 3. It's difficult for us to get over that. But I think once some of those really powerful black cards rotate out, we're really going to be in a position to take the meta by storm here with Kaguya. I think she's an incredibly strong ruler, and I think she's going to be very relevant moving forward for Force of Will. So thanks again for tuning in to the Deck Tech. I appreciate you all checking it out. If you liked the video, drop a subscribe or leave a like. Leave a comment. Let's talk about Kaguya in the comment section. See what people think about it. Got any suggestions for me for side deck or main deck, stuff like that? I'm always open to trying new brews, new builds. Check out our website, digiquest.com. Devin and I post stuff there occasionally. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. We'll see you in the next one.